Theis by cheering. We're going to keep cheering.
All right, we can just cheer for the next 45 minutes. I'm not going to stop you. One of the things I've learned from great network marketers, hugely successful people, some great owners of companies that I've worked for and with. I've worked with great distributors who went to corporate who left. One of my best friends is the CEO of a direct sales company right now, and he's been a distributor. What I've learned from all of these people is you don't give up. You don't give up. It's the little things day after day after day, doing them over and over, making opportunity available to you, making luck come your way, making it happen. So, I appreciate all those kind words, Cliff, but don't count on me ever giving up. It's just not in my blood, not in my body. So I want to encourage all of you. It's great to see all the people I know, and there's a few people here, more than a few that I don't know. I'd love to meet you, sit with you at lunch, and just introduce yourself to me. And if I haven't talked to you in a while, don't leave here saying, man, I wish I would have got 2 minutes with Alex. I know you're all thinking that. So let's get that time, right? I mean, in all seriousness, I always leave here saying, there was a hike I should have done. Like, I've been here 3 straight years and didn't take a hike. So today at lunch, it's happening, right? It's happening.
Take a hike.
Most of you won't be able to keep up with Scotty and me, so don't even try. What I want to encourage all of you to do, and I say this just about every event, repetition is the master of learning. Play full out if you're here. Most of you probably don't live in the close proximity where you can just kind of go home right now and say, I'm going to phone it in here at lunch, just go home. So play full out. I heard Julia Reynolds talking to some of her team saying, playing full out, where some of the best learning is. What David said, what he taught is awesome. But where you're going to apply it is when you talk to the people who've learned it now 3 or 4 times. Or the guys that came all the way up here from the southern hemisphere and they've heard it 7, 12 times. The people you meet, the leaders that are here that you talk to at lunch, don't just sit with your close circle at lunch and dinner. And with your rolling rocks, Julia. Get together with some people that you haven't met, that you want to meet. We have just fantastic people here at Life Force. So take advantage of that because I'm in my element. So I owe all of you that thank you. In my office, frankly, I'm just not that productive. Unless there's a phone in my hand where I get my batteries recharged is right here. Right here. So, I like to take vacations with my family. But I get the benefit of almost what no one else gets at home office. And I get to come see all of you, hear your stories, hear where you're at, hear the good and the bad. Cliff's right, I hear a lot of complaints, I deal with a lot of crap. But I also get something that I don't think there's very many people, and not just my industry, but the whole world get. I get to be a conduit to all of you being as successful as you want to be, doing those little things over and over and over. I'm going to shift gears before we go to lunch. How many people here heard about some of the boot camps and the activity and the sign-ups and the fun and the culture that was happening down in Australia in the last couple months? And how many of you are thinking, what the hell is going on down there? I want to know. All right, so let's end that right now. Let's find out. And I want you to give all of these people a nice warm welcome because some of them don't know they're coming up here. So, I didn't know they were coming up here either just a few minutes ago, so don't do any qigong on me or whatever it is. I know you can. But I want you to give them a warm welcome because has anybody here traveled to Europe or Asia or Australia? You know what that's like. Even if you fly first class, you're still exhausted days away from your family, away from everything. Things are strange. And these guys came up here with essentially one purpose. To take their fire that David talked about and help it spread to all of you. That's a huge commitment. So, welcome up here, 3-star diamonds, Zvone, Vodnik, and Lisa Lane. oil. Okay, so we've got a few microphones. I'd like all of you to just take a couple minutes each and maybe describe what it felt like, what the benefits were, why it happened, what was going on in your mind. Well, how did you see it? And then we'll turn it over to all of you. We have a runner.
Yes, two great runners there.
Oh, yes.
Ethan and Adam.
So we'll take your questions right up almost until lunch. So we'll take them in the order that they come up as soon as these guys are done telling us their stories. So let's start down there with Manfred.
Okay, so what happened to me with this, what's on the whiteboard there, was, some of you know me, you know I was a hermit for 10 years. And network marketing opened my heart up to people again. And I thought I was very open to all kinds of people. Until I saw this and realized I was only open to nurturers. So, ever since I saw this the first time in Melbourne a couple of months ago, I opened up another whole lot more. And what that did for me was I relaxed. Now, when David was talking about the leaders burnout and the leaders being tired, I thought I had to be everything for everybody all the time. And it's great to travel, but I was still communicating and always looking after everybody and everything. And since Melbourne, my shoulders have come down about 2 inches. My tummy's gone in about 2 inches. That's more to be new than boot camp, but yeah. And when I went to the first boot camp, I was really scared. I thought I had to all of a sudden be the super promoter, the super prospector, and be that example for the persons on fire. And I've been in this for 15 years, and I don't need another 20 people front line that I need to nurture. So I was really scared. If I do it and I do it well, I end up with a whole lot more work. And what do I do? And being at the boot camp, I realized that all I needed was a small group of people who really want to build their business and see what happens. And then 7 boot camps later, well, 6 boot camps later, Cliff got on fire. And it's just been, the fire's been spreading just like a forest fire and a grass fire. So I'm sitting in the middle where the fire started for my team, and it's pretty cool there. There's not even any smoke inside. But the grass fire's burning out there. And Cliff goes out there and puts a bit of a match here and a match there to make sure it keeps going.
When I first heard this whole concept of boot camp at the convention, I could really relate to it. And then you guys did one or two, I'm not sure. And heard people on the calls, and it felt like hype. And we got less and less people coming on those calls from our team. And I had lots of apprehension what's going to happen now. And then we hear that David Costa is coming. We're flying over and decided, okay, we will do it. And I trust this man. Is it not loud enough? Okay. But I tell you honestly, I was really scared of him coming over, because he's not the only consultant that came over. And the last one that came over cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And probably 60 to 80,000 DV. And you know what? I was the same like Manfred. I thought, well, part of the boot camp was just get the leaders, kick their butt and get them back to work. And I came to the first boot camp that we were running parallel to the one that Manfred's on. And that's exactly what I was trying to do at that boot camp. But instead of kicking someone else's butt, I did mine. And came away with, I ended up coming back home with 5 new people. And it did get me excited, so I got caught just a little bit of that fire. But I felt really bad because I couldn't go to the other boot camps that these guys were on. You know, I had my mother with us, and I had to stay home. And because of that, I had to face the guilt and everything that David was talking about. How, you know, we had to hold this certain posture. And then I started hearing from the other boot camps, you know, the people were getting excited. There was results. Incremental, but there was results. You know, there wasn't just a big, you know, big flash in the pan and then a flop. And by the time we got to have a conference with David Collis there, we would have done quite a few boot camp. And you think about this, the first boot camp was just before Christmas. And then Michael said to me, you don't want to wait for people to relax too far before we do the next one. So we had the next one on January the 3rd or something, didn't we? Now you guys, for you guys, the Christmas is, you know, a few days, party and so on. New Zealand, in Australia, Christmas is their main holiday. And so I was just going crazy. Michael said, just do it, just do it. Even if it's 3 people come in, it's success. But you know what, we did it, and it was just a few people. But each time we did it, we learned something, we changed it a bit, and we got more confidence. And each time I did it, I realized I was working a little less hard. Because now I didn't have to stand up front anymore and say, okay, this is how you do it. I just did one demonstration so people saw me talk to one prospect. And that was it on one bootcamp. Everybody got it. You're not any better than me, right? That's what I got. Everybody got, oh, you're not so great. You know, it's just you. And that's what I wanted people to get. And so for me, I started to see those 5 people that I got, you know, if they wanted to build a business, well, just come to the boot camp. If they really wanted to build a business, they'd come. And I saw a vision for me all of a sudden that, you know what, the boot camps could give me the freedom back. Because A, I didn't go to all of them. B, I could send my people there. And I don't even have to show up and feel really good about it. But what really happened when David Collister came, you know, Cliff was on fire, and David Collister was able, for us, once we got through this, he was able to point out what happens when people are on fire and help us feed that fire. Well, in the past, when some obnoxious promoter were on fire, we would pretty much kick them out. And I had this, Manfred and I had this experience. We were running Dream Academy in Australia, and there was another company running their training right next door. Like people were using the same toilets, we were seeing each other, and you know, there was people there, nurturers, who said, look at them, aren't they repulsive? Now that company had a strong promoter culture. And I had some inkling that made me say this, and I don't know where it came from, but it said, look, I hope you get blessed with lots of them in your downline. And something opened up for me and for them. And that was, for me, the beginning of that. But when David came, David is such an incredible master. I just wish that we could really be, that I'd really be capable to listen the way he's telling me to listen to him. Because I tell you, you know, I thought first time when David came along and he did this webinar, and I said, Jesus, this moron doesn't know how to tell the story. He's teaching me how to tell the story. I had Holly. She's you know, I know how to tell a story. She personally coached me how to tell the story. So what's at the end of the boot camp, another boot camp, the Dream Video Dream Academy, It flipped. I said, David, you master storyteller. And he said to me, I said, I want to learn. He said to me, listen to my webinar. And I thought, well, okay, so I listened to it and I was blown away because he said it. Everything he's telling us now, we go, wow, he said it. And 2.5 years ago, none of us got it. And so I started helping everybody to get it. Listen, he is a master magician. He is beyond anything you've ever seen. He come across on stage like a moron, but he's doing it with very specific reason. Teaching you something your subconscious mind that you might not know. So that's kind of my experience with that. And when I got what we really got, I put everything in. I know life. The certainty is 300%. I know what we got. There's no doubt yet anymore.
Well, I was part of the boot camp that happened in Auckland just before Christmas, and I echo what Manfred said. I felt like I went to that thinking, oh no, I've got to get up there and do all these demos and show everybody what a great recruiter I am, and be the great leader. And we didn't have any of this, by the way, at that point. We were just working with this concept of I've got to get in the same room and start recruiting, and it definitely at that time felt a lot like, oh, we're just going to get all our team who have gone off the boil in a room and lock the door and get them happening and make them work and get them doing all these calls, and we're going to show them how to do it, and it's going to be a boot camp, whether they like it or not. And it was really good. There was some real great things that came out of that, because one thing I want to say is, when you go to a boot camp, not everybody's going to be on fire. There will be some people there, there might only be one who's actually on fire, and other people won't be, and that's all right, because I totally believe in right timing for every person. That's why it's good to go along to, like Cliff went to all those boot camps, and something just shifted and clicked into place for him, and bang, he was on fire, and he's ignited a whole lot of business for us in Australasia. But anyway, just back to that original boot camp, a lot of room for improvement, I can say that. And we were working with, we were working with what we knew of at that time. But the thing about boot camps, even if people aren't on fire, I can tell you if somebody goes along to boot camps, just makes a commitment to turning up at I Am Champion days when they're happening, or going along to boot camps, it's more than likely they're going to be doing a lot more action, whether they're on fire or not, than if they're just sitting at home twiddling their thumbs thinking about how they could be doing something that they're not doing. So I believe in these. There's something, I personally kind of coined a phrase for boot camps as I've come to experience them and see what really happens in them. To me, they are more like what I would call a synergy bubble. You get a whole bunch of people in the same room, they're all doing different things at different levels, and magic happens. And I don't know what the magic is, but you just got to get there and experience it. And you just got to get your people there in that synergy bubble, experiencing what's going on, because what's happening is way, way more than the total of the individuals that are there. It's just something I just cannot put my finger on, but it is amazing, and we've seen it happening in our business. There's just total evidence for that this works now. And the best thing about it is that Zvone and I have been able to take about 3 months off our business and go back to Slovenia and spend time with his mum there, getting her settled into a home, find the right home for her. We're back here for 2 weeks. We're going to go back to Slovenia because we've got a lot of her personal things that we have to help her sort out before we can go back to New Zealand. Our whole life has had to shift around. We've had to make spontaneous decisions about where we're going to be and travel and all that kind of stuff. And we can feel totally free, without guilt, to just go and do what we need to do and know that it's going to happen.
Our first boot camp, I can't even remember when it was,
thing that we focused on was having fun. And this is one of the things that we haven't heard much about boot camp. Boot camps are super fun. We chose a market to go to, a big market, and all of us piled in cars and we went down, we buddied up, and we just went out and talked to stallholders and had fun. And then we'd gather in little groups in the corridor and say, how was it? What happened? And the thing that I see about boot camps is the immediate, instant support. You buddy up in 2s and 3s, and you go talk to people, or you're on the phone in 2s and 3s, and the other 2 are listening, and you get off and it was terrible, and you say, well, how could we have made it better? And you've got instant coaches there. So that's part of the magic, is that in a boot camp, I mean, one of my girls in Perth, they had a boot camp with 3. They had a ball. They had so much fun. And now, there's a pieces behind the boot camp which are really important, and that is to have something to invite people to. Just give an example, the Perth people had a boot camp for just 2 days with 3 people, and they had an event to invite it to on the Tuesday. They had 18 people at that event. 3 people invited. How many did they invite to actually get 18 people, real people showing up? I don't know, but it would have been a lot more than 18. That's not fair. They got all those minutes.
You're a team. What can I say?
I'm in Australia and we're doing it slightly differently. But the backup is really important. To have things to invite people to have fun. And now we've got people going out in 2s and 3s for a whole week-long boot camp. In fact, the last boot camp was supposed to be 3 days. They were having so much fun and getting so many sign-ups. They said, let's make it a week. Okay, so they go for the next 5 days, and they said, oh, that's not enough, we'll keep going for the weekend. So they had a 9-day boot camp, and they just had a ball. And did they ever sign up lots of people? But the other thing that's come out of it for our team is being far more targeted. So when they're going out in groups of 2s and 3s in the street, they're targeting, leveraging people who have already got networks, and inviting them to be business partners. It's not about talking to your neighbour or your friend. It's, if you want to grow fast, you must target people with leverage. And that's what my team is doing. And just to give you an idea, in January my business was 49,000 BV. At the end of May it was 74,000 BV, which is a 50%.
What can I say that's meaningful for everyone here, especially the people that may have some doubts about the boot camp? They may have been to boot camps. They may not have got the results that they desired. There's one thing, there's one common denominator around this beautiful insight that David has given us. And every single person in this room knows how to invite. Yeah? Is there anyone in this room that doesn't know how to actually offer what we have? Right, no hands up, see that? Everyone knows how to invite. Everyone knows how to give a tool, a sample, or do the follow-up. Right? Anyone doesn't know how to do follow-up here? One person. Okay, now those people, we'd love to connect with you and give you that support. The best way is to actually come to the boot camp, but connect with your support person. You will yet to be maybe given some specifics around that. Most people know how to follow up, and most people know how to sign people up. Is that correct? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay, so did you get that? You actually know how to do the business. When you come to a boot camp like this, you're bringing those fundamental skills, but you're coming to an environment where you're away from your distractions. The cat, the dog, the neighbour, the washing, the phone, right? And for a dedicated period of time. And I recommend it's an intensive period of time. Whatever you need to do, down, whatever, get in the mode. It's not practical for everyone, but energetically is bring your future self to that event, and what have you got to lose? You've got everything to gain by being around people in action. And there's a synergy that happens between the difference between you staying at home and doing stuff, and a synergy when you're working around people. Yeah, really. You've got to be there to experience it. Now, I have to say this, that this didn't start in Australasia. It actually started here.
That was the inspiration.
The inspiration. Okay? And I know that that first event must have been literally crazy. Oh, I was like, oh. When I found out bits and pieces, I was going, oh. I was like, oh. I felt so much for the leadership, in particular Michael G. You may never know the amount of sheer brilliance that it took to actually get that event floated, and just take it on and do it, not knowing. And so it's because of that. And then further down the track, it comes to us, it comes to our neck of the woods, and we're doing it one step at a time. And my journey was that no matter what it took, I was going to attend every single boot camp that came my way or was within flying distance, one after the other. And with the intention of just getting it, catching it, doing something around it, so that to the point where I could just really nail this thing and just go for it. And it happened at the 6th, 7th boot camp. It really did happen. And so moving forward from there, the fire's been lit. So just know that's okay, folks. The job's been, it really has been done. The evidence is there for each and every one of you. It's not about will it work or could it work. It's working. And hey, even if we don't have it perfect yet, is that any reason not to give it a go? It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing to give it a go. Stand up, make the commitment, be your own king and queen, and make a declaration. Get your started. Just say, I'm doing this. And I declare it, and it is so.
The two biggest takeaways I took from working with these guys down there and spending time, what Christine said about having fun. Even in the toughest of times, when someone would get off a call or wasn't in the right mind frame, they were having fun and helping those people. They were injecting fun into everything they did. The second thing, and I think we all know this, but it's good to hear it. How many people here have ever felt like, and you don't have to show me your hand if you don't want to, you have to be something you're not to try to be successful in this business. I need to be something I'm not. And you feel inadequate. Working with these guys helped me see, you just need to be yourself. You just need to be yourself and be the best you can be. And we'll help you grow, little by little, little by little. The other thing I took away was they all got my dry sense of humor, which was awesome. So, we're coming up on lunch. What we're going to do is push the questions till after. You all get to hear their stories. We don't want to hold up your lunch. Cliff's going to send us all to lunch. But I want you to give these guys a hand, because they all spent about $4,000 to $5,000 to get here at this event, and with one essential goal, what they just talked about, to glean that onto you. So like I said, play full out. Sit with these guys at lunch. Find them. Ask them a couple questions. Don't woodpecker them. Okay? It's a term. But ask them questions. Play full out. Give these guys a hand. These guys are awesome.
Lunch finishes at 2 p.m, so please be here before 2 p.m. Is it possible that I won't need to go shh or into your seats? What do you think? Okay, I'm going to put a challenge out to this entire community. When I come back here at 5 to 2, I won't need to do that. You know why?
We'll all be in our seats.
We'll be ready, willing, and able.
Yeah, okay, there's the challenge. Take it or leave it. Thanks everyone. Just music.